I just want to say, you guys are doing a great thing. It's such a uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast, 888-659-3727. And I do still call it broadcast. Everything's a podcast now, but we don't really podcast. We stream live. Really, the way that radio works today and broadcasting works today is over the internet. And all these shows are now pigeonholed into this term podcasting when, I don't know when the last time you used an iPod was. But you don't have to actually download the program. It's like an automatic situation. So instead of turning on your radio, people can listen live on their phones. It's just a different way of broadcasting the content as opposed to through the air. I don't know why they haven't changed that back.
Or you could just accept the word broadcast as a generalized term for podcast, live stream, two guys sitting live talking and taking questions and not really worry about it.
That wasn't an or. That was you just reiterated my point.
It's like
sometimes I feel like I feel like I'm speaking a different language with you, Joe.
Well, sometimes you are.
Yeah,
but we power through.
I don't quite understand it sometimes. 888-659-3727 is a toll-free number. Guys, this is the Hair Loss Show. I just announced that I'm going live on my Instagram, so you guys can call in. A little issue with Instagram, not the app itself, but the people. The people who contact me on Instagram. The people who contact me enraged on Instagram because I'm out there essentially trying to help you guys navigate through this treacherous industry by telling the truth. And there's always some guy with a really fucked up hair transplant that will contact me. I mean, bad work. And be enraged. Like, there's guys in the U.S., there's guys overseas, there's one guy in the U.S. who has trolled me for a while, and now I find out he's opening up like a hair transplant or hair loss type of like a Medi-Spa type of situation.
Because of course he is.
Yeah, but I'm just
Christ.
Look, you made this decision. You made this really poor decision for your life. I understand the confirmation bias issue. I understand that, I really do. But just let other young people at least get the information they need to make a better informed decision than you did. Because in a few years, you're going to be screwed. Why do you need to, bang your fists and somehow try to convince me that I'm wrong, I'm negative, I am, somehow anti-hair transplant, when in fact that's the furthest thing. Surgery is a last resort, but I am pro well-executed, well-thought-out, well-planned hair transplant surgery. Life-changing, life-improving hair transplant surgery. That's what I'm positive about. But
was the hair spa guy the one you were just telling me about before we went on?
No, but I did notice that this particular guy that I was telling you about seems to have some sort of connection to a overseas clinic.
Ah, the one that did the work?
I think it's the one that did the work. I don't know, but whoever did that poor guy's work should not be. I mean, he may not. There is a body dysmorphic situation that goes on with people who have cosmetic surgery in general. But usually the body dysmorphia, it depends. a lot of times, especially with women, it ends up being once they get something done, they need more work done. They have to. It's like getting tattoos. You keep getting more tattoos. It's just weird. Yeah. It's weird psychology. I happened to see somebody who, it's unbelievable. Los Angeles is unbelievable. Came into my place. We're going up the elevator. You know, you have to have this special key. It's like a fob, kind of. And there's no buttons in the elevator. So the elevator door is closing. She presses it last minute. She comes in. She's got like a baby carriage with a dog in it. Okay? And this poor lady looks like Rocky from Mask, if you know who I'm talking about. You ever see the movie
I do.
Mask? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously not that bad. I'm exaggerating, using a little hyperbole. And this is a younger person. I would say she's at least 15 years younger than me, just based on, I don't know. I mean, I could tell maybe by her hands, her body, her neck. But what was put into her face looks like she was filled with concrete. So there's this kind of new normal appearance that people think. When she's looking at herself, maybe she thinks that looks good, or maybe she thinks she keeps needing to get more tweaks. This guy's head of hair was unbelievable to me. I couldn't believe that he's walking around thinking that he has a positive experience, and I'm kind of glad that he did. I would never say anything to him, but at some point he's going to wake up, or someone's going to say something. Something's going to happen, and he's going to see himself in maybe his rearview mirror at one point at a certain angle and realize, I'm disfigured. It's over. What did I do? What was I thinking?
Yeah. I think something like that can only manifest after enough people ask him about his own work without him actually ever bringing it up. You know? Because there comes a time where, you know, where you can't deny it anymore after the 37th person you've talked to out in the wild brings it up. If not verbally, then at least through their eye motions, like I used to deal with, where, you know, always looking at my hairline instead of my eyes when they were talking to me. Everyone has their journey. Who knows? Maybe it'll hit them. Who knows?
Well, you know what's funny, though? I bet he's nasty. I mean, and a lot of these guys are really nasty, and they're just so upset. Like, they don't understand what I'm doing online. Because I'm not selling anything. I'm not promoting a specific product. I'm not selling hair transplant surgery. So they're not used to getting that type of an education, because it's all negative to them. There's a doctor, a well-known influencer, that has called me negative in the past. Look, I'm not here to, you know, paint a rosy picture for you guys. You want help? It's there. You want to save your hair? It's possible. Doesn't mean that you can do it. If you want to have a great hair transplant, if you go to the right surgeon with the right team, who has the right attitude, understands patient selection, you got a, you know, like a 90 some odd % chance of coming away with a good experience. But you still have a 5%, maybe greater % chance of getting screwed up, not as badly as you would have if you didn't choose one of the better clinics. Guys, hold on. 888-659-3727. Go ahead.
It's a much higher probability than 5% of not being entirely satisfied with the final outcome.
Who's being negative now, Nelly?
Oh, I'm being the negative Nelly, because, you know, while you're going through your monologue, it kind of, I mean, we know this, but it just kind of re-popped in my head. You know, we are the only line between the consumer and the truth, or the patient and the truth about what they're going through. No one else online actually talks about the downsides of surgery as if it's a, you know, more than a remote possibility that there'll be something negative.
That's right.
We're the only people that do it. No one else talks about it, except unless to make a point about making a bad decision in one of these, you know, top 10 things to do or not to do when, looking for a hair transplant clinic, those kinds of bullshit things. But we're the only ones that for year in and year out have been the line in the sand against the bullshit, where people are looking for that ideal that's being sold in the ads. We're the ones to say, no, that's not true. That's not the way it works.
I think about it, and guys, hold on, I'll take your calls in a second. I think about it sometimes when I look back on my life and my career, how much easier my life would have been if I just kind of did what these guys are doing. Like there's this young guy that works for this, forum now, and it's all about, interviewing people and, all the happy horse shit about the greatness, hair transplant surgery is great and this is what you do. And, maybe interviewing influencers and shit like that, or trying to. Actually, I was taking a look at this guy the other day and like, this poor kid's hair transplant's diminishing pretty quickly.
I haven't been paying attention, but that's not good to hear.
It was just sent to me because he was interviewing this kid who's well known on the Instagram world, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And this is a young dude who just relatively last decade or so has had transplants. But look, with that said, when I think about all the bullshit and nonsense that I'm getting on Instagram, I'm getting a lot of love on Instagram too, I have to admit. I want to thank you guys who are taking the time to write me your thoughtful notes. I can't read them all. I don't see them all. Every once in a while I'll go into like some of the hidden stuff and I'll see like, there's like 1,000. Maybe more. I don't know. I haven't counted. I can't read them all. But from people asking me questions, but then every once in a while I see somebody saying something really positive, like I was about to have surgery, thank you so much. I went to the IHRS, I'm going to make my decision from there, or maybe I'll wait. That makes me feel good. It really does. But then I'm just like, when am I going to get the big payday from all this? I'm almost 60. I'm just kidding, Joseph. And everybody listening, I have got plenty of payday, slow and steady for the last 30 years. It's
I was going to say your payday is a 30-year-long payday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a type of person who really believes that life and work and business is a marathon, not a sprint. And to be able to build, and guys, I'll take your calls in a second. For those who are trying to get through and getting a voicemail, that means that we're busy, so keep trying. I've always been a believer of slow and steady wins the race. I remember, never forget, I think it was Alan Feller. I was going to say let him rest in peace. I mean, he's still alive. Jeez, that's a terrible thing. But he's not working really. He's not doing surgery. But then at one point, early on, he was like, well, you're like the juggernaut online. And for whatever reason, the sites that we have were ranked very highly. I remember explaining to him, I said, that's fleeting, brother. Next week, it could be somebody else. I said, it's really about building a foundation. This is when he was relatively new in the field or new to working with me. I said, I could be invisible online, but if I build the foundation outside, just be slow, steady, take the crap, all the trials and tribulations, and fight the fights behind the scenes, and just build behind the scenes. I don't have to be the top online face. If we're able to help 3,000 or 4,000 people a week, I'm happy with that. And meanwhile, I'm building the foundation. So in the end, they know, sadly, once they're screwed up, they know where to circle back eventually, and they find us.
Yep.
Anyway, enough of my rambling. 888-659-3727. I don't want our friend who's upset with my mustache to... it's not a mustache, by the way. It's a beard. I don't want to upset him. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi there. It's Ed from Toronto.
Hey, Ed from Toronto. How are you?
Hi there. I had called last week. I've got a bunch of questions, if you don't mind.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Okay, thank you. Spencer, for you, maybe for both of you, in terms of Dermatch, do you know if you could apply it directly after you put the Rogaine on?
Yeah, you don't want you want your Rogaine to definitely be dry and whatever is going to penetrate through the stratum corneum to be penetrated. So no, I would wait. I would personally wait several hours.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You also
What's the longest-
you also
yeah.
don't want the active ingredients that help to penetrate the drug into your scalp to kind of like bind with the talc and everything else that's in the derm match and get into your skin and into your body.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I just wanted to double check. Thank you.
Sure.
How long, or just out of curiosity, how long does it last for you?
Derm match?
Like one of those cartridges.
Oh man, I've had my stuff is so old. I got like a lifetime supply 15 years ago, and I'm still using it.
But like how long? How long would you go? Just out of curiosity, how long would you go through?
I could use a small travel one,
Yeah.
and that'll last me 6 months.
Okay, yeah, it's about me too. I guess I'm noticing film in the bathtub. You probably noticed that too. Just got to keep cleaning it. Is that the deal, or?
Film in the bathtub?
Yeah, from the Dermatch shampooing it off, it seems to leave a film.
I've never noticed that.
Okay.
But I guess
Okay.
it's possible. I mean, are you actually taking a bath?
No, shower. Just rinsing my hair with the shampoo.
Yeah, I've never noticed a film. You might need a better
Okay.
housekeeper.
No, so
I
I've
wouldn't
heard
go
you
say
talk
anything,
about.
but yeah.
I've heard you talk about this, but the Rogaine and the microneedling, and you mentioned pretty much stay away from that if I am correct.
Well-
putting the Rogaine on.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
you don't want to listen. So I just did a short on this that maybe I'll post next week, and because of 3 shorts that I did, which got a lot of attention and a lot of hate, by the way, but a lot of attention, someone else contacted me, and there's another doctor that made a reel. I'm reacting to it. The reality is, derma rolling, derma stamping, microneedling can help with some initial hair growth. And what no one really understands is, and Joe's been around for a long time, in the early 2000s, this is something that was really being discussed pretty heavily in the online world, on all the forums. But the first paper wasn't published on it when it came to hair loss until 2013. In that study that was published, there were 100 participants in the study, 50 just on topical minoxidil and 50 who were using topical minoxidil and microneedling. The microneedling group only were told to microneedle once a week. And they were also told, which is not in the study, but this is what I was told during that time from the people who conducted the study, the docs, that they advised their patients not to put minoxidil on their scalp directly after they braid their scalp, to wait the next day. So basically, skip their nighttime routine once a week and just do the derma rolling. They did see initially more growth in the derma rolling side, subjects, than those who were just using minoxidil. But in the long term, those hairs really never had an increase in diameter. So for
Right.
some reason, they grew longer, but they didn't grow as thick as the surrounding hairs. So we're looking at that, and you can kind of take away like, well, maybe these people derma rolling even once a week are causing some sort of, damage to the hair follicle. We just don't know. But what's happening now is, and what happened online years ago, is that guys were going nuts, derma rolling every day, and then adding topicals, and most of these people have long-term damage, and none of them have long-term hair growth. So that's just the reality. So I'm not saying don't do it, but definitely don't do it after you just sprayed your scalp, and maybe do it once a week until you see some initial growth, and then just let the medication do the rest. Joe, you're looking at me with a little question mark.
I wasn't even looking at you. I was just
Oh.
listening.
You know why I say you're looking at me? Because you're looking at the camera. When I'm looking at you, it looks like you're looking at me, which I like because you look like you're paying attention.
Well, I try. I try to make it look like that. But,
I'm sorry I'm sorry for that long answer, caller, but I think it's important information for everyone has the same questions.
Yeah, it is, because I was doing it the daily, and then I heard you, and I was like, oh boy, I should kind of stop this. So it has helped me, this information.
These
Thank you.
influencers online, and also some of them are also selling their own derma rollers. They are essentially swiping my content, which is fine. That's fine. And, doing stitches with it, whatever. And then they're basically saying that I'm crazy. And then you look at their profile, they're selling derma rollers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, look, I have no skin in the game. If I wanted to put the American Hair Loss Association seal on a special dermal stamp, I'd make a lot of money. Write that down, Joe, by the way. That's a good idea.
Noted. Exactly. Yeah. What's
more
interesting about the derma rolling is I remember over the years seeing what Spencer was talking about with the discussions about it and people getting really excited by it. And then with the stupid notion that bigger, better, badder, more, whatever, you get better results with more application or more firm application or a higher number of applications. I remember seeing pictures of guys sharing their
bleeding.
process, and they're bleeding like they just got hit with birdshot from a shotgun, bad.
And then they're throwing SD alcohol onto the wounds. And that's killing skin cells. It's insane. But what bothers
some of the things that guys do is it really boggles the mind. It's like pull back a little bit and maybe follow the instructions because they are that way for a reason.
Yeah, but with that said, even though there's the bro science aspect of things, there are doctors out there who are advising people. I'm talking about people and women with big followings, like 800,000 followers, who are telling people to abrade their scalp and then put minoxidil on top of it. Not just foam, which has propylene glycol and some degree of alcohol, but, whatever, any topicals. And most of these have SD alcohol. So I can't blame the bro science kids or the vulnerable guys out there that are just trying to experiment themselves, because these doctors aren't reading the studies and they're talking about it and getting clicks for it. All right, caller, what else do you got for us?
Sure. We talked about oral minoxidil last week or the week before. Do you have any thoughts? Have you seen evidence where, I guess it can grow body hair, but have you seen any crazy stuff, or is it just in proportion to whatever body hair you currently have?
Joe, would you mind taking your shirt off?
Again? Jesus. I keep getting that question, but it's usually off camera. The only, a few cases where eyebrows have to be braided, but nothing more than that usually.
Okay.
No. I've seen, I haven't seen, but I've had, I'll say numerous people say that they have noticed that their beards grow faster or their beards are growing fuller after taking oral minoxidil. Their eyebrows are bushier. They've actually had more facial hair in general, not in any specific place, but even more peach fuzz in areas where they normally don't have peach fuzz above the beard line. I'm saying more body hair. Yeah. I mean, it's a fairly known phenomenon, fairly well accepted as a phenomenon, as a side effect of using minoxidil orally or topically sometimes.
I think for a guy, it's kind of a high-class problem. I know it could be more difficult for a woman to deal with when they start getting darkened sideburns and mustaches and stuff like that. But they could also get that waxed. Yeah. I mean, if oral minoxidil is working for a woman, trust me, she'd much rather have to wax the hair off than having to deal with the hair loss if she's able to reverse it.
Yeah.
So,
got it.
Yeah, and if I ever start using it, I always talk about, I'm like a young Swedish boy. I basically have no hair on my body. I have some hair on my legs and a little bit on my chest, not much at all, really. But I would say I probably had a little bit more before I started taking finasteride. So I'm guessing that if I started to take oral minoxidil, I would start to grow more body hair.
Yeah. Got that and a few more. So we talked about oral minoxidil a few weeks ago, and I have waited for a transplant just to refresh you. I can get by with Dermatch, just get by. And the thing is, I've got, it seems hair coverage all over my hair, but it's sparse, like there's millimeters, good amount, a few millimeters between it, and very thin. And I'm just thinking, how do I, like before I would have thought, okay, just go in between those hairs and that's great. But then when I kind of heard about the shock loss and perhaps wait longer, I guess the question is, doing a hair transplant in a situation where you got very thin hair, there's coverage, the crown is shorter hair, but still hair there, and implanting into that situation.
So the question is, do we think it's a good idea for you to have a hair transplant if you have kind of a very thin hair, but it does exist, and you're able to cover it with Dermatch?
Because if I don't, it's not pretty. Like it's maybe I'm under like very like lights, like whatever you call it, in my bathroom, the lights are very shiny. But it's not pretty without Dermatch.
How long does that hair grow?
Welcome to my world.
You know,
you're rubbing the Dermatch into.
It was actually really short. It was for 2 years after finasteride. It was maybe half a centimeter. Then it started growing a bit, but I'd say it's about 3 centimeters now, 2.5.
Is that like just letting it grow, or are you keeping it trimmed? No, I'm not keeping it trimmed. That's for sure. I haven't cut it for like the longest time. Yeah. Okay. And can you repeat the part about finasteride? You are or are not on finasteride now?
I am on it. I've been on for maybe 4 years now.
So after you started taking finasteride, then it was able to start to grow a bit longer, but it's not really kicked in any impressive manner.
No. Finasteride has helped. Yeah. Sorry.
So I think that in situations like that, you need to ask yourself, you obviously value the base that it gives you to make your Dermatch application more believable, and that makes perfect sense. Like you need to have that undergrowth, as it were, to give it something to really grab onto, or to work with. But I think it's warranted in many cases where if the hair itself that you have that you're trying to save with medication is still limited in the length that it can grow. In other words, the growth cycle is still fairly short or pretty short. I think it's okay because, you've been on it for 4 years. It's obviously benefiting you to at least a small degree. So you can probably feel pretty good that it's maintained exactly as a baseline. So there's not really a question mark anymore as far as that goes. There are some variations you might want to experiment with, like maybe upping your dosage or maybe adding some other treatment to go with it. But if you're at the point where, okay, is it at least potentially safe? Because everything's potentially unsafe as well. But is it potentially safe to consider surgery into this area? The answer is probably yes, if you're going to a clinic that has experience working with diffused hair loss. Because it's very important that the recipient area being shaved, not down to the skin, but just where a couple millimeters are still exiting the scalp, so that the surgeon can see the exit angle of those hairs. And if they can see the exit angle properly using proper magnification, then they can make those incisions in between those grafts in the same angle, same direction, so on and so forth, which greatly minimizes the physical trauma caused by the blade. Okay?
Yeah.
You may still have some shock loss because of the interruption of blood flow, depending on how affected your hairs are from miniaturization, some may not come back. But assuming the surgery is performed properly, the upside will help to offset the downside.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And my last question is, and I think you touched on it, and you've talked about it before, but I just want to double check. If I had surgery, I do not want to shave my head, but I know that's the ideal thing. My hair is sparse enough again where you can kind of see through it. Mm-hmm. Is there any improvements or advances in kind of keeping your recipient hair? Okay.
No, there's nothing that is verifiable across the board that would help to minimize or prevent the damage from not shaving during a surgery. Okay.
Yeah.
Always look at the bowl of spaghetti analogy, because that's what your hair is if it's unshaven, and people are trying to place in between your hair shafts to avoid damage. It's like going into a bowl of spaghetti, full length uncut spaghetti, and trying to figure out what's going on there. You can't do it. I mean, you can if you want to take 3 days, of constantly going through. I mean, I am overcomplicating it with my description, but that's I think that applies, because the idea is this: the more you can do as a patient, or the more that you can accept as a patient, that makes the surgery easier for the doctor.
Yeah.
Then do that thing, whatever it is, within reason, obviously, and deal with the long-term benefits as opposed to the short-term consequences.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. Thank you.
And not to mention, there are things that you can also do to minimize the aesthetic impact or the perception of the aesthetic impact by others. So I used to tell people this. It's like, look, if you have longer hair and you really have trouble dealing with shorter hair for this procedure, first off, if you're going to be getting FUE, then this is even easier, because you go in, you do your consultation, document everything with photos and video, the hairline drawn out, and all these things that you guys are talking about, you and your chosen clinic. And then, just as an example, say it's 3 months from now that you book your surgery, you go home and you immediately get a short haircut.
Yep.
And you live with that for a month. And then after a month, when you go get another haircut, you make it shorter. And then you live with that for the month. And then the month before surgery, you go ahead and do a head shave, like a really close buzz cut. And everyone around you knows you as the guy with the buzz cut.
Yeah.
So you go have your surgery. Guess what? You're getting another buzz cut. And then you have surgery. And depending on your skin tone, it'll be kind of pinkish for a bit. But it won't look any different after a week than you having flown to Miami for a week and gotten a sunburn.
Yeah.
That's the way it looks. It's not obvious to anyone. Even some people who have had hair transplant surgery, they may have a hard time understanding, oh, look, he had a hair transplant too. At only a week after surgery, depending obviously on how you heal and the post-op protocols of the clinic, and can you take scabs off, and all these little details that would affect that. But in general, and for sure at 2 weeks, like that's a no-brainer. But it's the point being is that when you get back to work, say you take a week off work, you'll look really no different than you did the day before you left. It's just that you got another haircut. You tightened it up.
That makes sense. It's just that makes total sense. It's just the thought of shaving the hair even shorter.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling I'll look like, Dr. No or something like that. It's just I don't know.
And in 4, 5, or 6 months, you won't.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to cut your hair again. You're going to let it all grow. You might want to keep it kind of short for the first few months until it starts to actually grow back, the transplant.
Right.
And then you're scot-free, man. You are.
Yeah.
you can look at that in the rearview mirror going forward.
Right. That makes sense. Perfect sense.
Like think about something that was traumatic that happened to you, or embarrassing, we'll say, and now think about it. Like it was nothing.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that
the
time
thing.
like the time that Spencer was running down Sunset Boulevard in his underwear. That seemed like nothing now.
See, the
I
problem
was
is,
walking slowly.
the traumatic thing that happened to me.
I don't run.
Yeah.
I walk briskly.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
traumatic thing that happened to me is the loss of the hair. So that's the thing. That's
and also understand the fact that you are not the only person that has this concern, which means that it's really nothing to be concerned about. Like no one else gives a shit. It's just you.
I hear you. Okay. Thanks. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right, brother. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Phone number 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. I think I screwed up the URL for my story I just put up. Whatever.
Uh-oh.
Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Oh my God! I got on the air again.
Yeah.
Spencer,
It happens.
this is Rez from
Hey.
California.
Hey, what's
Bay
happening,
Area.
brother?
Hey, man. Hello.
How you guys doing? Joe, how you
Good.
doing, bud?
Can't complain, man.
So that's good. Nobody's going to listen anyways, right?
Maybe. At least
Maybe.
not to
Yep.
Joe.
You never know. I never hear Joe complain, but you guys are some of the most entertaining people I've ever heard, honestly.
Did you got to get out more, brother?
Spencer, I never knew how funny you were, Spence. You have like a quick wit. It's amazing.
Well,
You're not just a guy that writes books.
I appreciate you saying that. There's someone who used to be in the chat that not only thinks I'm not funny, but is very concerned about my mustache, which is a
Your
beard.
mustache.
Which is a beard, by the way. I'm just kidding. We like to make fun of the trolls.
Well, maybe oral minoxidil. I was going to say, the oral minoxidil on me hasn't worked that great on my head, but I have noticed my taint hair is a little longer now. Is that normal?
Yeah, I understand that it is. Good for you, brother.
So I'm thinking I could just let it, eventually just do a transplant from that area onto my head.
I know
So
I actually know
grow.
someone who had a taint hair transplant.
A taint hair.
I'm just kidding.
Taint, because it ain't taint that and it taint this. And my Uncle Sal
Taint that a
always
bitch.
used to come up with. That's right. The other thing, man, I don't understand, Spencer. You were on your Instagram and you were talking about it. You don't like oiling the scalp. You think it's wrong to oil. And I don't understand how you could say it doesn't work. I mean, how can you look at like Puff Daddy, who has amazing hair, and he uses baby oil by the kilogram?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, but I'm pretty sure.
What's his name? Diddy?
Yeah, Diddy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
he's
he's not
oiling
using.
it up.
I'm pretty sure he's not using it on his scalp, but I could be wrong. Hey, maybe he's using a little cocoa butter. Can I say that, Joe?
Yeah. Cocoa butter.
Is that wrong?
I think you did. So
Yeah.
yes, you can. Not only
come
can
on.
you did.
Look,
Are they
I
gonna call you a racist
I had
or
a
something?
I had a girlfriend many years ago, and I would tell her, "Listen, you're lucky that I like the smell of coconuts because every time she came into the room at night, she put this stuff on her body, and she smelled like
Right.
coconuts."
Was she African
Like
American?
I have a
Yeah.
friend comment.
Yeah, she was a black girl.
That's good.
Black is good.
But I got to tell you,
She looked
man,
like Beyonce?
she's got pretty good skin now still, so that cocoa butter works.
It works,
Say
yo.
black don't crack. That's what they say.
I don't know.
Say black don't crack.
So what else can we
No,
do
I
for you
had a-
besides the taint hair? And I appreciate the compliments and the fact that you've been listening
Taint
for so
hair.
long.
Yeah, pubic hair, taint hair. I was going to say, so there's a product that I used. This is all honestly. Okay. You know, they always talk about gray hair. There's not a real good cure for that.
Yeah.
Well, I think there is. I've stumbled across something that, and I have pictures to show it. I'd say 85% of my hair color is back. And it's this product. It's this Chinese herb. You know what it is?
Hoshu
I'm
Wu.
going to go to Hoshu Wu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I don't know what's in this stuff. I don't know how it works.
Arsenic.
That's fine, as long as it changes my hair color.
No, so are you taking it? You taking it orally?
Yeah, I take a teaspoon of it and I make a tea out of it.
That's interesting. You
So
know,
I have that.
it's very interesting that you're saying that because, you know, I wrote about that many, many, many years ago. So if you read my book, you would have seen it there, but you may not remember. And
Oh my God.
What?
Bon Apetiga actually said that before you did, that you put it in your book.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
So I, you know, it's difficult to find the right, I guess, potency or extract, or it's interesting that you're making a tea out of it. But there is some evidence that people who take this on a regular basis seem to have darker hair. That's just the way that it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never wanted to do it for myself. To me, the more gray, the whiter my hair gets, the fuller it looks. Especially now that I'm older, and I have some retrograde alopecia in the nape. I mean, if that was really dark, you know, it would not look good.
It really yeah, that's the
Contrast.
downside to having not gone gray.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's more contrast, exactly.
yeah.
have you heard it actually helps make the hair thicker and fuller? Because there's people that believe that it somehow helps with hair loss as well.
That's a claim, and I think I wrote about that claim in the book. I do not believe in that claim, just based on 30 years of experience. But when I was initially writing the book, I was very young. I was very, I was doing as much research as I could. There were anecdotal reports, and the internet was barely in existence. But I was just reading it in textbooks and in naturopath, books and all this stuff. And I thought it would be interesting to provide this information because there was so little information about anything on hair loss. I mean, my book was only maybe 200 pages or something. I don't even remember. So I had to kind of like stuff it with whatever I could. And I thought that this was interesting information. But you're not the first person to let me know that the Hoshu Wu actually, when taken consistently and usually in tea form, darkens their hair. But I've never known anyone who went totally back to their natural hair color.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 85%, and I don't even know if continuing to take it I've been on it for 3 months, and I first started to notice it definitely doesn't do anything to the beard, but overall I'd say about 85% of the hair color is back. There's still a little salt and pepper on the sides, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. So,
well, I think bad is
with
relative when
melanin.
it comes to graying hair.
What was that?
I think using the term bad is relative when it comes to graying hair.
Yeah, I agree. It looks good on some people.
Yeah, listen, when I'm in person, I look much. This camera in particular, and this lighting, for some reason my hair doesn't look as gray. But when I shoot some video on my iPhone for Instagram, you can see how white my hair is, and I much prefer it. It makes you look slightly older, I guess, but what are you going to do?
Distinguished.
Have you notice sometimes you'll look in the mirror and you'll see yourself one way, but then if you're under a certain light, it's almost like you can see all scalp. It looks like you have no hair.
That's why I have my entire place professionally lit.
LED lighting is the worst. The LED, I think.
Yeah, it's all bad. I have one of my bathrooms in the. You can't even say master suite anymore. You have to say primary suite. In my master bedroom,
right?
I have this crazy lit bathroom, so I see everything, and that's where I do my skin cancer examinations on myself. But yeah, I mean, I could see it is so bright in there. I could see through my skin. It's like translucent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like I don't even want to turn the light on when I go in the bathroom. I'm like walking around feeling for braille. You know, I don't want one. I'm fine. I'm fine with not having any
Dude, I
light.
found a spider vein in my ankle the other day in that place. I'd never see that walking around.
Yeah, that's age.
Oh, dude.
You know, we get older. I was going to tell you about Muesli. If anybody's bought anything from Muesli, I have a bone to pick with them because I'll tell you how they advertise. They'll tell you the product is it's $33 a month. When you sign up, you get the doctor's appointment. It's $33 a month is what they advertise. You give them $90 and they say it's a 3-month supply.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay for the whole 3 months up front. Now, the bottle is a 60 ml, so most people would assume that that's 3 bottles. It's 1 bottle that they expect to last 3 months.
Yeah.
I blew a fuse when that happened. I messaged him, customer service, and I said, how am I supposed to make this last 3 months when your doctor is telling me I have to use it a full dropper full twice, 2 dropperfuls on my scalp once a day?
Right.
How does that math work out? Oh, well, you know, you have to use a half an ml twice a day. You know, it's not even a full ml. So they get around that by
Yeah, but that would still only give you 2 months.
No, they only still give you 2 months.
That would still give you 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and I've gotten messaged by a couple of companies, and I had a not the CEO, I forgot his position, of one of these huge companies contact me directly, initially through LinkedIn, and then they wanted to have a conversation. And I am not a fan of these huge subscription prescription companies. These companies that are selling hair loss drugs, ED drugs, drugs for melasma, drugs for, you know, whatever ails you, semaglutides, all this stuff now that they're selling.
All wrapped into one pill.
Yeah, and the companies that are like doing these combination mashup drugs of finasteride, dutasteride, Solidal, Cialis, whatever, or Viagra.
Drug, yeah.
So basically, it's like this one pill is going to keep you hard, keep your hair, and help you with your premature ejaculation. Go. Mm-hmm. And these people they buy it, and it's allowed to be sold because there's no FDA guidelines when it comes to compounding medications, or at least there's no real, what's the word I'm looking for, Joe? There's no real governance.
Regulations.
Or regulation. Yeah. Oh, yeah, oversight. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's not a guy. First of all, every kid you see online is on gear. They're on steroids to some degree, or TRT, and they're on dick pills, and they're on finasteride or minoxidil. Every kid in their 20s.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what the
sure,
hell is
that
going to happen
means
to their
there's
bodies?
some
I mean, first of all, nothing wrong with dick pills. And when the time is right, I'll absolutely take dick pills. That's fine. And maybe they're good to have on hand. I don't know. You know, I'm a little concerned about the potential side effects of, I don't know, blindness or going deaf, just when you don't need something.
Huh?
Yeah, Joe's been losing his hearing lately.
Huh?
No, but I would definitely pop a Viagra. I have no problem with that. But when you're 20 years old and you're doing it for just to have a little bit more confidence, and I understand some people have some real, like, serious performance anxiety, you know, and they feel that helps them. But it's really become a crutch for these kids. And the fact that these companies are selling this, and I know I'm going a long roundabout conversation about this, but the fact that these companies are willing to sell these drugs to children, essentially, kids, if you're over 18, and doctors are just signing off on ED medications, hair loss medications, stuff that seriously can affect young people. And these are real drugs that, you know, you should be at least have access to a doctor who's a specialist in each and every one of these issues. I'm not a fan. And also, you don't know what the hell you're getting. So it's easy to order from one of these big box companies, but I think those who are doing it, I mean, in general, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed, or they're desperate, or they just want something that's easy for them, like you. And then you realize, wait a second, this may not be a good idea.
Well, like the way they advertise, it makes it seem $30 a month. Like, it's not bad. I can break it down to
It's the beauty of marketing.
$30 a month.
And there, a couple of these
marketing.
companies have gone public already. I mean, this is the beauty of marketing. It's one company that contacted me. They want to kind of figure out a way to kind of like make peace. I'm like, you don't have to make peace. If you want, to be an American Hair Loss Association trusted brand, all you have to do is show us what's going on in your facilities. Let us know where things are being compounded, where the drugs are being sourced. We definitely can't promote certain combinations of compounded medications. These companies do not want to provide that full transparency, so I can't work with them.
Makes sense.
So anyway, I'm going on a rant, but I'm not a fan of these companies in general.
No, I emailed customer service and I said, I think, your advertising is false. And they ended up, how they'll give points, or they'll give you points when you buy something, they'll give you points towards a product. Like, let's say I bought something over 6 months. And okay. Well, they gave me $198 worth of points to use.
Yeah, that's great.
Towards,
now you get $198 worth of points to buy more bullshit.
Yeah, to buy more stuff. And all their stuff has in there is just tretinoin, hydrocortisone. It's an 8% minoxidil, which I don't know if there's a higher percentage.
I'll tell you, if Richard Lee is still alive, man, he got basically, he was essentially busted, in quotes, by the state of California for providing the same types of compounded medications as these big box companies are providing now. And he was doing it, this is a real doctor who's an actual hair loss specialist who would actually speak with patients, have real consultations, and he was ahead of his time. So as far as the 8% or a higher percentage, I mean, look, companies have been selling these higher percentages of minoxidil for years. I used to get 10% topical from the Dominican Republic back in the day. It never really increased the hair growth topically, putting on topically. And I think, for me at least, those products irritated my scalp more, probably because of, either propylene glycol or SD alcohol. My whole thing is, look, go to a doctor. Get your scripts from a doctor. There's one company that's coming out, that's a startup. They're providing us with full transparency. We'll see how it goes. I'm still not even sure what direction that's going in. But if that happens, they'll be carrying our trusted brand seal. At the very least, you're going to know that these are products that are being sourced correctly. You're going to know where they're being compounded. They're not going to be compounded in 100 different facilities that could be questionable.
Right.
But until then, man, I would not buy any of this stuff.
You mean even from like Hims or?
I wouldn't buy anything from Hims. Now, I'm not.
Right.
Look, that's just the way that it is. Look, if Hims wants to come to me and provide full transparency, I'm absolutely willing to listen. I've had conversations with these companies. I'm not going to say which ones. And none of them, except for one, and it's a new company, has been willing to open their doors, to be audited, and for us to be able to take a closer look at exactly what they're offering consumers.
They're using cheap ingredients, probably, yeah?
Well, they could be getting, listen, do you want your finasteride sourced from China? I don't know.
Or Israel.
And it's not just about it's not about just about it being a cheap base component, but it's also the consistency. Are you getting the quality stuff from the same source every cycle or every quarter?
I would say, and as far as he just said, or Israel, as far as generics, Israel, hands down, makes some of the best generics.
Right. Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, I agree with Israel has good. Do you think oral minoxidil is dose dependent? For example,
Yes.
is 5
course.
better than 2.5? Is 7.5 better than 5? Is 10? I mean, at what point?
It can be.
does
It is 100% dose dependent. You just have to find, or the doctor that you're working with has to find your sweet spot where you're not getting adverse side effects and you're getting results. That's why they're starting with low dosages, low dose oral minoxidil. But there are people who are on
What's
10
the highest
milligrams.
you've ever seen somebody on?
I've known people on 10 milligrams. When I started out in this industry, doctors were offering
That was the norm.
10 milligrams. Oral minoxidil's been used in the field forever. It just didn't make the news. It didn't make a big splash.
I remember Joe talking about the guy that came to visit him that was on some herbs and 10 milligrams. It was like a Norwood 5 or 6 and almost grew back all of his hair.
Now, look, I am at a point.
He was a 6, and it did grow back all of his hair. Like he looked like he had no hair loss.
I'm at a point now because I'm
nuts.
dealing with some retrograde. My top, it's interesting. The bald spot, the top, that's really been pretty stable. But I'm dealing with some retrograde and overall thinning. It's just thinner than it was. Even the sides. Now you can't see through that, which is great. I'm very lucky. Some of it could be aged alopecia, right? Senile alopecia, and some of it is a combination of retrograde and aged alopecia with my male pattern hair loss. But I'm pretty sure that if I jumped on oral minoxidil, I might be able to get another 5-10 years of much fuller hair. But my issue is, knock on wood, I'm not going through any type of effluviums. I don't want that to happen. So I'm just kind of I'm going to wait and see. I'm taking my time, but I'm glad that I have that in my toolbox for when I need it. Maybe I'll be able to keep a full-looking head of hair, or even fuller than I have now, until I'm in my 70s.
It's just going to be temporary, even if you get a small shed.
I'm almost 60. Everything's temporary.
I know.
You know?
I don't think you'll get the shedding that you're worried about. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it'll be minimal. I mean, if you even get any. I was surprised to hear that you were.
He's almost 60 for crying out loud. Everything's almost minimal.
Right.
I know. Minimal.
My God.
I hear you. He's turned 50. Jeez. And I think if we go back 50 years and we look at the population, I believe people are losing more of their hair now. I could be wrong.
I absolutely agree. Initially when people would say that to me, I was like, no. Yeah. I was like, no, there's a lot of young guys losing their hair, but there's no doubt that there seems to be an earlier onset of triggering. Let me put it this way. The triggering may start around the same age as it did, 50 years ago, but it seems to be hastened. The process just seems to really move and progress much faster than it did back when I was young. And even in my, my dad's days, there was plenty of guys you saw receding hairline, but it seemed to be a very slow process unless they were the, these full-blown Norwoods never coming back at 30, which was pretty rare in comparison to today. Now, all these kids online who are getting these early transplants, they start to lose their hair, and within 3 years, they're like a Norwood 4.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we see more people in our day-to-day now than we would have, 30 years ago in a week, or even a month, because we're looking on social media all the time.
I would say that I would agree with that to some extent, but I would say just in the streets in general, like because I've been Norwood clocking forever since I was a kid. In the streets in general. I see, like, if I go to a restaurant today, like, whatever, here in Beverly Hills, or if I go to, like, Century City Mall or something, I just see these young guys walking around, totally jacked, by the way. Every kid is on steroids. Sorry, guys. I mean, the secret's out.
They are.
And that could be part of why they're all bald, too.
Well, and I think that, I can't say I've noticed an increase in hair loss, but I wouldn't doubt at all that there is, simply because there's a sharp increase over the past 20 years of just fat fucks everywhere. Just unhealthy. I mean, look, it took us so long just to ban FD&C red number 3 or number 7, whatever the red dye was that was finally banned. It's been banned in Canada and Europe for years.
Yeah, but I had to get a case of old school Twizzlers because I love those things.
Yeah, because you gotta have the original. But I mean, the point being is the additives and the hormones and the antibiotics put in all the food in the States is criminal. Yeah. It is criminal.
Metabolic.
And I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the first time I heard someone tell me that in their home country they didn't have any hair loss. As soon as they moved to North America, 6 months later they started losing their hair. And I thought they were full of shit. I was just like, it's just bad timing. And then I started getting more and more of these immigrants telling me, like to my face, telling me the exact same thing. And I actually think there's something to it now. Most of them were Indian. So, sometimes they were East Asian, but most of them were Southeast Asian.
I think that may have helped. That may have helped with the migrant crisis if migrants, if these people were alerted to the fact that if you come to America, you're going to go bald. Maybe some people would have stayed home.
There you go.
Show them a picture.
Save $20 billion on the wall and just tell everyone.
Yeah.
Before.
Oh, have you seen Trump lately? Yeah. Poor guy's losing his hair.
See who?
Donald Trump in his last video, it's like almost bald.
I mean, let's face it, the guy's almost 80. The fact that he held on to what he held on to, even though some, looks like has been, moved around his scalp, it's pretty amazing. When you think about it, the last time, I would say, his last presidency, he still had a lot of hair, and people would make fun of his hair. But I used to think like this guy is like 70-something years old. It's pretty amazing that he's able to keep that much hair.
Yeah.
So now he's almost 80. Listen, it doesn't matter. He probably hasn't upped his finasteride. He's also been through a lot of, I would say, a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So he's doing pretty.
Almost lost an ear.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. And when RFK gets in, I hope that he does. I'm gonna reach out and maybe we'll all cure baldness together. And skin cancer.
Why doesn't Elon Musk put his money to get? Elon with all his money and Jeff Bezos, they both suffer hair loss. Musk had a hair transplant. You realize they could cure baldness with as much billions of dollars that they have.
Oh, dude, with AI, with what's happening just in the next year, things that are going to happen. I mean, I may not have to do this show anymore. Now, I want to be involved, so I'm saying it on this program. There will be a tete-a-tete. Is that what it's called? There's going to be a reach-out situation. And I would like to be able to bring this up to these guys. And I think that there's one guy in the chat that's going to say that I'm full of shit, but I think that I can make at least the conversation happen. So this is something I've been looking forward to. With the last administration, I don't think that it would have been possible.
Yeah, well, especially Trump. I mean, he would definitely fund some kind of hair loss program. Him and Musk, if they're both.
I could say this because it's true. Many years ago, I had a conversation with someone who was directly involved with President Trump on a professional basis. It's a long conversation. And, at the time, at least this person, I can't get into the specifics, but at least this person was very interested in my breadth of knowledge and what I could possibly help to do in the future. This is about 10 years ago.
We will make hair great again.
That was good. You got it, Jeff.
Thank you.
You really got it. So who knows? Maybe we will. And you know what? I would love to. And you know what I would do? I don't see a way I can make money doing it. I would just like to end it and then exit stage left.
Spence, have you ever considered, and I've been thinking about creating
Have you considered letting us take another phone call, by the way?
You know what? You guys should take it. I'm having such fun. But how about a roll-on minoxidil product, like a underarm deodorant, where you apply it on your scalp?
Why?
There is a company that actually makes a roll-on natural product, and I have to say, it was sent to me, and the applicator is pretty cool. It really is a smart idea. My only concern is, once you're rolling this onto your scalp, you have your scalp microbiome, and you have other debris on your scalp. That debris that's on your scalp gets back into the medication.
Oh, well, it's rolling. Yeah.
Because it's rolling on your scalp. You're not as concerned about the underarm deodorant. You're putting aluminum in your body anyway, so we're all slowly dying from that stuff. But at least we don't stink.
Well,
All
I
right,
think
brother.
If you don't use,
Our Alzheimer's smells
God
great.
bless you. Huh? Well, the aluminum, that Alzheimer's, I know, man.
Look, I'm at a point now where I'm just taking one day at a time. I'm still doing the show with Joe because I enjoy it at times, like today. And, we will, continue to do what we do.
Please don't stop. Please, really, no, I mean, this is really a good thing for all of us to come together one day out of the week. And we all have something in common, man. And you guys do such a show to where your energies are both really contagious. The way you make people feel good, you take it lightheartedly. People feel comfortable speaking to both of you guys, and that's amazing, man. We love you guys, man. Seriously.
Well, it's very kind of you, and I appreciate it. What's the deal with the other mother effers that, for some reason, dislike us? Why are people so unhappy and bitter? We're trying to do a good thing here.
Themselves. They're projecting how they feel about themselves onto you. It's the same story all the time. People project. They just don't know it. They haven't figured that out yet. And have pity for them. I have pity for people like that. I pray for them.
I do, but Joe has feelings.
No, I know. And you guys are
Evil
pretty good about
feelings.
handling. You guys are good about handling people that call that are just acting stupid or trolls on the.
Yeah, no. Listen, dude. You're great, and it's so nice to hear from you. That's why and all your questions were meaningful. I think a lot of people are thinking of the same stuff. That's why I let you talk for so long. Besides enjoying the conversation, so call in whenever you want. We'd love to hear from you, and I appreciate all the kind words, and I love kind of the old timers. Not that you're old, but the guys that have been listening forever, calling into the program.
Well, we have a mutual friend, somebody that I worked with. So there you go.
Really?
Was that it? Yeah, Dr. Elliott.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he would consider me a friend, per se.
I get it.
All right, brother.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Hey, seriously.
And I'll say hi to David Spade for you, by the way.
He looks great. No, he looks great. His hair looks great.
He doesn't look bad. I have to say, there's a lot, something held up. Sometimes I'm like, is there something? Does he have a partial behind his hair transplant, or is that all his?
I think he had a good procedure done. He has a very nice hairline. That was one thing Elliot could do, was hairlines. His telling people not to take finasteride afterwards was his downfall. But I think he could do good work when he put his mind to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, brother. You take care.
God bless you.
Have a good weekend.
See you, Joe. See you, Spence.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's nice to be appreciated, isn't it, Joe?
It really is. It really is. Very nice. Thank you for the kind words.
So I said to that Colombian person the other day. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, Spence. Hi, Joe. How are you guys?
Good. How are you and who's this?
Good.
Good. My name is John. I'm calling from California, and I've been a long-time listener since about 2005, since I've been in college.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Well, welcome,
Thanks for calling,
John.
John.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years. Again, thanks for taking my call. I've been dealing with hair loss for a while, just like a lot of people that's listening in on this show. I started finasteride about 19 years ago, and minoxidil about 17 years ago, and added little treatments here and there, like Nizoral shampoo. And I guess what I'm calling about is I'm 39 now, and I'm looking for treatment advice. I managed to hold about a Norwood 3, and around 34, I got a hair transplant to restore my hairline. And so far, pretty happy with the results. And the transplanted area, fingers crossed, has been holding up pretty good too.
Oh, great.
But
I'm still trying to get over the
noticed
fact that you've been listening to us since college, and you're 39 years old now.
Yeah, yeah. No, you guys do great work, and I'll echo what the previous caller said. We love you guys. I know there's a lot of negativity out there, but ignore that. You guys are making a fantastic impact to the people who call in and listen. I know there's a lot of people that are botched and a lot of people in a tough place. So you guys give us hope.
Well, don't make me cry, brother. Go ahead. Thanks.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I've noticed I try to keep a pretty close eye on my hair. My native forelock seems to be thinning a little bit. And I dabbled in low-dose dutasteride recently, where I took finasteride 5 days a week and then used dutasteride 0.5 milligrams a couple days a week. And I didn't really see much difference. I did experience a lot of sides, though, and I confirmed it with blood test results. My testosterone, my free testosterone was low. My SHBG was high.
That's interesting.
So
So it's interesting that your free testosterone is low, because usually it has the opposite effect.
Yeah. So my free test was very low, and from my understanding, that's the bioavailable testosterone. That's what's used for libido and building muscle and all that stuff.
Yeah, usually, at least with finasteride, we know that your bioavailable testosterone, your free testosterone, goes up depending on how much you're taking, but it can go up about 15%, and that's pretty average. And the thought was that the same happened with dutasteride for a long time, but it's possible because you're blocking type 1 enzyme that it may have a different effect.
Yeah, and I just couldn't do it. I did it for a year, and my libido was low. My girlfriend noticed it too. I just wasn't feeling good. I wasn't making progress in the gym. So I recently switched back. But I'm just wondering at this point, what else can I do to try and avoid another transplant and save that forelock? I've read into things like RU58841, but I don't trust any chemicals coming out of unknown labs in China.
Good.
Who knows what kind of side effects?
Good. You have to be an idiot, in my view, to trust that stuff. And the fact that there's a product now being sold through Amazon, it freaks me the hell out. Like, how is that even possible? But yeah, I mean, there's no long-term. Anyone who's ever been on these gray market products, especially RU58841, even though Derek from More Plates, More Dates has talked about it, and I love that guy. I've never seen anyone who started that who's been on it for the long term with any success. It just doesn't happen. It's always a fleeting experience. So I think your instincts are right. Did you say that you're considering oral minoxidil, or you're taking it?
No, I use topical, and to be honest, I haven't been really going down the path of oral minoxidil because I'm already kind of hairy as is, and I don't want to increase that.
Well, I mean, there may be a point, and again, I'm not telling anybody to take any medication. I'm not a doctor, but there may be a point that if you really want to keep what you have and kind of reinforce what you have and keep that forelock, that should be a consideration.
Okay.
You know, and maybe doing some, manscaping if you need to. So that's just kind of like something, we know you're 39, so you're getting to the point where you're still young, but you're middle aged. You're getting to the middle age point.
Yeah.
I know people don't want to believe that, but I mean, the average guy lives to 76 in this country. So
I didn't know that.
yeah. So you're basically, I mean, you can live longer, obviously. I mean, if I live to 76, that only gives me about 17 more years. That doesn't sound fun. But
He's almost 60.
yeah, I am.
Joe's gonna repeat that. Joe's gonna repeat that at any chance he gets.
That's
But
the new
both of
line.
You guys look
I think
fantastic
it's.
for your age.
I think that's actually very funny because that's how I feel. I wake up in the morning, and I weigh myself, take off all my clothes, weigh myself, and then I have this long mirror, and I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost 60.
That's my new exclamation for myself when I'm walking around the house and I see something that just blows my mind. Like, Spencer's almost 60. I can't believe it.
But yeah, brother, you are getting to the point now. You have to kind of make a decision on what you want. You've done really well in finasteride, or you slowed things down for a long time. You're happy with your transplant, right? You don't want to get another transplant.
Yeah.
You want to try to avoid it. It's possible that adding medication can help you to maintain much longer antigen phases, or get to the point where you're reversing some more miniaturization and keeping longer antigen phases. You can keep 3 or 4 antigen phases. That keeps your hair for another 20 years.
Yeah,
You know?
I think about it that way.
So, and I don't push anybody on it because I'm not taking it yet because I'm concerned about atelogen effluvium, because right now everything seems stable, like with my comb and my shower, even though I'm noticing this retrograde, look, as Joe keeps saying, I'm almost 60. It still bugs the shit out of me. I comb my hair in the back, I look at it, and I'm just like, kind of see through it towards the edge. I have to get it cut shorter so that no one notices that. Trust me. They're looking at me from the front and from the side. But I still know something's happening. So I'm like, when am I going to do this? When am I going to pull that trigger?
It's also why he got the 4-inch lift shoes, so that it's harder for people to actually see the back of his scalp, because he's much taller than everyone. So there's that too. You got to do what you can. Work with what you got.
I have shrunken an inch.
Yeah.
I was a little bit taller than...
And he's gotten shorter, too. So.
I was a little bit taller than 6 feet, like just barely. And now I would say if I'm 5'11" and a quarter, I'm lucky.
But Joe, why is that? You're cute.
Well, he's almost 60. He's getting shorter.
There you go.
Anyway,
don't ruin it with the sound effects.
Well, I was trying to get
you had
the drum, the hi-hat. No, I'm not 69, Rob. Or 59.
Yeah. So listen, but you sound. Listen, you're 39. You're back. Now, how's your libido? Is it back? Everything's good again?
Yeah, it's coming back. I switched at the beginning of switched back, I should say, to finasteride at the beginning of this year. So I've definitely noticed a difference. It's slowly coming back.
Now you didn't test.
Thankfully.
You didn't test it out, like maybe go out one night and see how things work with somebody else, because that could have an effect, from what I understand.
Well, I mean, I guess the true test is now that I'm back on finasteride, and it's still working with that same person. And yeah, I don't know, but no, I didn't do that test that you're recommending.
Yeah, that's usually the first.
Unfortunately,
before people switch, I usually tell them to go have an affair.
Purely for scientific reasons.
Just
to test things out.
If you get caught
for A/B testing.
Perfect. There you go.
Well, that's the thing. If you get caught, basically just record the program and say, "Look, Kobren told me to do it. It's for science."
Oh man, you guys are too much fun. Okay, so I'll read a little bit more about oral minoxidil and kind of really weigh that option. But other than that, I mean, I've upped my finasteride dose as well about 10, 12 years ago. So I'm on about 2.5, at one point even up to 5 milligrams a day.
How did you feel on 5 milligrams?
Fine.
So, I mean, if you've already done that, you can consider talking to your doctor about, maybe, taking 3/4 of a pill. See how you do on that. I mean, that could help too. I recently upped mine, when I say recently, about a year ago. And I may go a little bit, instead of now I'm taking it like twice a week, like once every 8 days. Once every 4 days. But I may bring that intermittent therapy in a little tighter and maybe do it every 3 days and kind of add an extra pill, within a 10-day period and see how I do.
Okay.
So
you've been on finasteride 5 milligrams for quite a while, right, Spencer?
Well, I've been on 5 milligrams, but not daily. So I started on a daily protocol. Just that's all they had. No one knew not to take it. I went up, all the way up to 7.5 when I went through my initial shed. No one knew about the initial shed because no one was writing about it or talking about it. So I just freaked the F out and started to take more medication. Then it kind of subsided, and I decided to lower it a little bit. I wasn't having any side effects. I went back down to 5. But after about 2 years on the medication, I started to learn more, got my book published. And once the book was published, there was much more data out there about 1 milligram. So then I started to slowly titrate, and I decided on 1 5 milligram pill once a week. And I did that. And the thing is, sometimes it wasn't once a week. I would just take it when I thought about it. Sometimes it was like 8 days, 9 days. And I did that for, it's got to be 20 years, at least 20 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Longer than that.
Yeah.
So only more actually, probably 28 years. And I only recently upped my dosage. So, I have some room to work with.
Okay. And Joe, how about you? Are you on a standard 1 milligram?
What am I taking now? I'm doing about 1.25 because I split up Proscar tablets, and I'm daily right now. Sometimes it's every other day just because I forget.
He just takes a bite of it.
My pill intake.
He takes a bite of that and a bite of his Xanax.
I just take a bite out of it. Yeah. Sometimes I get the wrong pill and fall asleep for about a day. But
he was on birth control for like a week. I didn't even realize it.
That's good.
And I'm an old school listener. Because of both of you guys, I don't want to risk it. I've been on name brand Proscar for a while. I don't want to really dabble in.
I'll tell you something very scary. For the first time, there's been a back order on name brand Proscar. And initially, my druggist, is that what they're called now? My pharmacist, was like, they don't see when it's going to be available. I'm like, that is not a good sign, brother. So I called somebody over at Oregon. And they told me that it's going to be shipped. It's going to be shipping July 21st, which is interesting because that is really when the date of this European issue comes down.
Oh,
that decision whether or not
the banning thing.
I don't think they're going to ban it, but I mean, it's.
Okay.
I think it's more like maybe they wanted to plan on package changing, insert changes and stuff like that. But I did. I stocked up. I've got about 7 years worth now.
So while we're on that topic, I kind of did like you. When we went to Europe, I saw they offered Proscar over the counter in Spain, name brand.
Yeah.
And it was like $20 for a box. So I was like, I got to load up. But I wasn't able to use it all. And I have some that's, 3-4 months expired. And I'm wondering if it's okay to use.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming in Europe it's probably in a blister pack, right?
Correct.
Right. Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. Even there's the drugstore expiration and then there's the pill expiration. And even on the pill expiration, most of these drugs could last, especially if they're not open to air, and these have a really good coating on them. They're going to be effective. They could be effective for decades. Now, emotionally, I don't love taking expired Proscar. I'll take expired anything else. Antibiotic, whatever. But for some reason, I have that thing in my mind too. But when I heard of the shortage, I looked for every expired bottle that I had, and I had plenty. The reality is, if you look up expired drugs, I mean, they do find out that they basically maintain their integrity for decades. You just have to keep them in a cool, dry place. So, and if they're in a blister pack, you're not going to have to worry about it. Again, I'm not a doctor, but you could read about that stuff, and there's a lot of issues, and this actually may come up with RFK, where hospitals, and there's so much medicine wastage because there's so many expired drugs out there that are just being essentially either returned to the pharmaceutical companies or thrown out. And the companies want you to, in the hospitals, to keep using new medications. So that was a long way of saying, I think you're pretty good. If you're stocked up, that was a smart thing to do.
I think that's in line with kind of what I've read online. And I'm like you, when it comes to taking Tylenol or cold medicine, I don't care if it's expired. But Proscar, I kind of second guess it. But I'm probably going to take it anyway.
If it's a benzodiazepine or something, man, you feel that stuff. So I'll take whatever. I used to, when I was a kid, if I was out at a bar and someone opened their hand, there was a button in their hand, I would have taken that. So.
Oh man.
All right, brother.
This is surreal. I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of surreal talking to you guys. I really appreciate your time. It's been really fun chatting.
Is this the first time
still having you call?
This is the first time you spoke to us?
First time calling in, yeah. And I can reminisce about all the days. I can bring up names. You guys are gonna laugh. Dr. Lee, Dr. Proctor, Dr. Picard, all of that BS that was out there.
Unbelievable, man.
Nice.
I mean, Dr. Lee was okay, but I mean, the Proctor. I mean, I was sold on his crap for a while. It was unbelievable.
Whatever it was. Yeah,
it was unbelievable. And he was like in the chat rooms, in Altant Bald Spot, and all these guys were just hustling, and Picard stuff with the copper peptides. And now these copper peptides are like, they're back in vogue. So everyone's asking us about copper peptides again.
That was popular over 20 years ago because I got a bottle of that with my first repair surgery in 2002.
Oh, yeah.
And that was all the rage.
Wow.
Everyone was talking about copper peptides.
Yeah. You know what I love about it?
Two things. Jack squat.
You know what I love about it also, and thank you for bringing it up. It's interesting. I am reminiscing. Even the hair transplant guys, the good doctors who, I only look at guys for their surgical skills and what they're churning out with surgery. But honestly, man, so many of these guys will sell anything that's just, a possible interest or that's trending. So it goes from
100%.
Copper peptides to, there's doctors out there that are selling, and these are good guys, Nutrafol. And the only reason they're selling the Nutrafol is because, in my view, again, this is my opinion, but it's also based on some pretty significant knowledge, that's the product that has the biggest markup. There are similar products that you can get. It's a product by Advanced Trichology, their DHT blocker. Great product, well sourced, half the price. But the doctors want to sell Nutrafol because they whoever gets the best markup and the best marketing, that's the product they'll sell. It just kills me.
Oh man. Yeah.
But anyway, brother, listen,
listen,
thank you so much for calling, and I'm glad we were able to help you all these years. Feel free to call again, man. Let us know what you decide to do.
We'll do. Take care, guys.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
Worst feeling is like when you're kind of going off on a tangent and you could feel the caller dying off.
He's like, I think it'll be another 20 years before I call back.
He's like, all righty. All right. Nice talking to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I get it. I think my girlfriend's knocking.
Yeah. I think my alligator just got out. I need to go round it up.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Caller,
Steve
what's up?
from Arizona. How you doing?
Oh, Steve, what's happening, brother?
Not too bad, man. Been a long time. How you guys doing, Joe, Spence? What's up?
Good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Been a long time. Pretty good, man. Not too bad. Just bought this other house and grouting some tile right now and having a couple of beers. And I thought, hey, it's been a while, probably 6 months, 8 months, whatever the hell it's been since I called you guys. So figured I'd check on in. Anyways, get the typical particulars out of the way.
Yeah.
Same thing with the hair. I don't know if you guys remember.
I do. I
Some
remember.
years ago, I sent some pictures in. I don't know if you guys remember, but
I remember. Good-looking guy
now-
ended up with a good-looking head of hair, combed it straight back.
absolutely handsome like nobody's
Those were my
business.
pics.
Still, even now, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know they're yours in your private file. You can keep them. But no, so now I wear the hair. I mean, for a while, but I wear it kind of like you maybe Thor or something, with a little bit of a ponytail in the back sometimes, or sometimes I'll use the bobby pins because it's better. So my hair still isn't it didn't come back all the way. It's a fucking sham. It's bullshit, but
Just a quick correction. You're a grown ass man. They're called bob pins. Okay, not bobby pins.
okay, bob pins. There you go, bob. Well, it
pins,
says it on
okay.
it says it on the package though. So
In some circles, Robert pins, but we won't.
There you go.
get you
Either
pissed
way,
off.
it's very gay.
let's
Not
call
that there's
them
anything
pins.
wrong with that.
so we don't argue about the semantics there. So I take these pins now, and I used to do the Thor deal, but you have to take the front of your hair and at least lightly put it in a ponytail. This is not good, for somebody who has this fake bullshit that I got going on. It's It's fine. I mean, it's better than what it was. Obviously, you guys remember. Maybe it's probably about the same because I think I sent those pictures no, it might be a little better. That was years ago I sent those pictures in. Anyhow,
Joe remembers well. He was looking at him last night.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. He's beaten off to him.
Well, I do like
Anyway.
good-looking hair, so
Yeah.
You're still looking at him.
I'm looking at them now.
I'm sure of it, I got more I could send you.
It's nice to have a voice to the hair.
Got it, baby. So I put it up. I do the deal, right? And I was okay, so remember it was, what do you call that? So it was it was thin, I'm missing the word right now. Diffused. It was just diffusing, and I got on it right in time. Yeah, I should have sooner, but that's how it is. 2019 September. And so I'll be 42 in a few days. And so, it's quite a while ago. I would have been gone by now, It would have been good night, Irene, a long time ago. But I caught it kind of just in time. So it started short in the front, they wouldn't grow too long, maybe a couple inches or an inch and a half, 2 inches.
Yeah.
And then it would get longer as you started going to the back. And obviously the sides and stuff were still fine. So anyway, for the longest time, it took a long time, but they still don't grow that long. The middle of the head's pretty long, and I would say the very front still only maybe grows, I don't know, 5 inches or 6 inches. I'm sure there's a dick joke in there somewhere, but that's kind of the deal about how
Joe doesn't
if you
joke
pull
about
it back.
dick. Go ahead.
Yeah, not when it comes to me anyway. When I call up. So anyway, so I put it in the ponytail.
There's no joke about it.
Yeah, I know. No, well, it depends who you're talking to. If she's tall, there might be. But anyway, so I put it in the ponytail. And so you have to pull it back, even with strategically. And I've been using Durmatch for years. And you were talking about Durmatch usage, how long a Durmatch thing lasts you. Now maybe I don't have to use as much, and I'm not using it every day because I don't know, man. I'm just not petrified about people seeing my head. I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm not oh, I gotta stay out of the sun because it looks funny. I don't care that much about it. I mean, I care. I like it to be there, but it's not like an overarching theme like in my life typically. But anyway, so I have to do that. I pull it back, and it just looks like it's a little pulled back and like a little thin, even with some Dermatch, like just enough. I still got the same one I bought in 2020.
Yeah.
Now, remember when I first talked to you guys about it, I asked, I said, is Dermatch any good? Because like I was using Topic at first. I was like, this looks like fucking like mold in my hair or something.
So
like
it
fucking,
could
you
be,
know what I mean?
it could be pretty
terrible.
chalky and weird.
Yeah, it just looked like you could see the fibers, like no matter what. And I was like, the first thing Joe said was, good thing you said derm match, because everybody says derma match. And I was like, yeah, I know, I've heard that about 20 times, and I've listened to the show before I called. But anyway, so yeah, I do the derm match deal. It's the same one from like 2020 or maybe even 2019. I might have started using it right away when I got on.
I get it. You don't need as much as I do. I got it.
Well, whatever it is. I don't know. I know. But anyway.
Jesus.
So now what I do, and this looks way better, is I trick it, right? So it's all like trained to be combed back. But what I do is I'll put like the minoxidil on my stupid head and the foam, and then let it dry a little bit, and then kind of fluff it and comb it back. So now it's trained to be back and fluffed. I'll put a little Dermatch on there, even better, especially just in the front. I don't really go in the middle. And then, and I do not want to leave like fucking Shallow Hal, where you got, the sod on the fairway thing with Jason Alexander. Like I don't leave like the markings. Like I make it to where if I look in the mirror closely, only I know it's there a little bit, so nobody else would even think anything. Mm-hmm. And then what I do is I take those pins, two on each side, and on the side, and I pull it back, and I kind of, cradles the hair. It creates this illusion like there's more hair because it's tight on the sides and just a little puffy on top. Not a lot.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, I thought that doing my hair was exhausting.
What's that?
I thought doing my hair was exhausting.
No, I mean, this is a long process to explain it, but it takes me about, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes, like, to do the whole damn thing. But there's no hairspray involved. There's no Aquanet, none of that kind of stuff that you use.
Yeah.
So I kind of, skipped over that. And I actually don't use anything except for, sometimes I use minoxidil, depends on time of day. But, so that's where I do the hair now. It's pretty good. And I would say it's, like, mostly, like, it looks good normally to me. But if I'm in a weird mirror, say, like, if I go to, like, a Costco or something, the mirrors are kind of tall.
Yeah.
My God, my forehead looks so fucking huge in those mirrors. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, it looks gigantic.
Well, have you taken your iPhone and videotaped yourself to see what you really look like?
Yes. And sometimes it looks good. And sometimes I go, who is that?
Well, the thing about iPhone is it can actually make you look longer. Like if someone is shooting you, or if you have a tripod that's a little lower than you, it can make your forehead and your whole head look kind of like a bean. So with an iPhone especially.
Yeah, because it's got a round on the lens. And stuff.
The newer ones especially, you have to shoot pretty much straight on if you want to have the way your face looks. So like I'll look at Instagram, videos of mine, and I'll see like if I had someone help me shoot and they were shorter than me, all of a sudden, I have like a cone head and I look very tall, but I look a lot thinner. And then when it's straight on, I look broader and my face is more structured, the right structure without the huge head. So, the same thing's going to happen with a mirror,
It's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice when we learn the tricks about how to take photos that he learns when he's taking photos for Naked Grinder. I mean, it's it really helps.
Is there a Naked Grinder?
Thinner.
How would you know about that? Is that like Black Twitter?
Black Twitter.
That's where gay guys take pictures of each other.
That's good. That's good.
But yeah. So I know what you're talking about. I would say in the mirror generally, and it's probably just because I'm accustomed to looking at it. like I think like that's how I look, right? And then like I take some pictures and I'm like, man, that's garbage. And I take other pictures and I'm looking back to the mirror look. So I don't know. I'm just not like very photogenic. Either that or I'm just not as good looking as I would like to think I am. So,
Well, here's the key to that. Sometimes being a little delusional is very helpful in life. By the way, Rob Hellner,
right.
Rob Hellner,
for your,
enough with
confidence.
enough with the five head. Enough with the five head. Okay, I don't want to see it anymore in the chat.
I didn't see those.
Jesus Christ! It's actually a forehead and maybe a 4.5 in the corner. Okay, if you want to measure it, and I'm going to take out out the tape measure.
This guy's still in the fucking chat.
Yeah.
Good Lord, been in the chat years, never calls in, and makes snipey comments all the time. Like
he has called in, to be fair.
Computer, you know what I mean? Oh, he has. When? Like how many times? Once or twice?
No. When he calls in, he's very nice. Actually, he just likes to he just likes to goof on.
Just busting chops.
He likes to bust my chops about my my receded hairline. Rob, I'm almost 60. Anyway, go ahead.
He's almost 60.
You're gonna be 70.
If I'm lucky.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you fucking make it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, like, I mean, as far as the transplant thing, I guess it's one of those deals where, and I don't, I'm, like I said, I'm in my 40s now, so I don't know how long it holds up. Like, I still look like, luckily, probably some genetic and, take care of myself or whatever, but I still look like the same as when you guys, and I sent you those pictures like 5 years ago. I don't know how, but it's like identical. Like I still just longer hair. So I'm kind of like catching a break when it comes to that, but, like I haven't, like, you look at yourself and you see wrinkles and are they setting in and everything. Like, I'm just surprised I haven't had a lot of that going on yet. It will, the shoe will drop, but.
Dude, I am
right.
waiting. I see that wall. It's like right around the corner. I'm dancing around it. I'm trying to avoid it, but I'm like, when is it going to happen? It's going to happen. I see people in my life who are at my stage, maybe a little younger even, and I'm like, Jesus, man, they tipped, and it happened fast. It was like 1 year to the next.
Yeah.
Sometimes genetic, both, and bad, like, not taking care of themselves, but like I do know a lot of people who, I'll run into them and they're my age or maybe even a few years ago, like we were almost 40 and I don't say anything. It's whatever. Everybody ages differently, but like if I had to think about it, it's like, God damn, like I mean, talk about like some people just fall off. I don't even know if they're doing anything wrong, but they just do. I mean, every time they smile, fucking set right in,
Yeah.
And, or furrow their forehead or whatever, their eyebrows. But I don't know. I just, like, the big things, and some of this, I don't do things that like, I've never done things carelessly in my life. Like, I don't drink a lot. So, like hardly ever. Like, I'm having a couple beers now because I'm remodeling this house. That's kind of where it ends, like 3 or 4 beers. That's kind of like the deal. A couple times a year, I might get like half drunk or something. That's about it. And then I don't get a lot of sun, meaning I'll go out in the sun for a few minutes, but I don't like just go in the sun and like let myself get tan and sit out in the sun for hours. Oh, I got sunburn, no big deal. And I don't do the fat skinny thing. I weigh like 170 like all the time. I'm about 5'11". And I don't smoke. And I don't take any drugs. I mean, so I'm doing whatever I can.
So I smoked.
To
I
hang
smoked
in
when I
there.
was younger. I certainly drank. Always had like a pool, and played outside. So in the sun. So I will say, that's all good advice, by the way. But I will say, I think there's a dietary component, and I think the fat skinny thing is really important too.
It's huge. That stretched out skin, fucks you all up. Like that's why one of those things where like, like I've, everybody's dated women. I date a lot of women, like when some women like snap back, but some of them, they have one kid, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's like goodbye, you know? And
yeah.
it's like, it's a shame, you know what I mean? Because like they didn't do it. They just, you know, want to have a kid or whatever. And that just happened. And some people, they can, you know, conversely, like if it's a guy or whatever, even a woman, they could like say they're used to being 180 and 6 foot or something. And they fuck up and the stress or depression or whatever, you know, losing their hair, and they just said, oh, fuck it. And, you know, like it couldn't put the donuts and the hostess and all that shit down.
Hey, dude, I was doing planks the other day. I was doing planks.
You know what I mean?
I was doing planks the other day, and I happened to look down, and I was like, is that skin? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, standing up, it's fine. So now I'm thinking, okay, I got to like work on new angles when I'm screwing. I can't be totally horizontal.
Wear a shirt when you're doing the plank.
Yeah, well,
with a tight collar too.
It's not even. It's different. You're unlikely to do a full plank in the light anyway. You know, when you're screwing.
Oh,
so a slight angle. You know, I got to work on that stuff now. That's the stuff I have to think about at this point in my life.
Oh. And we get to do the almost 60 routine again. Like, you are 59 or whatever it is. So
yes,
it's like,
I'm 59.
It sucks, though. I know what you're talking about. Like, so I don't know. I'm not there. You know, like I said, I'm 42 couple days. I still play basketball with guys who are 22, and I could still get there, but I know that, like, my time's limited here. Like,
Joe,
I can't train
by the way,
like I used to.
Kick Hampton Hudson out of the room.
Why?
He just always makes really fucked up remarks. I'm just kidding. You don't have to kick him out. He's just a prick. Go ahead, caller. Steve, sorry.
Caller, how about Steve? You always fucking name.
No, the caller's a real prick.
Anyway, that's pretty much what it was. But anyway, like I know, like that's limited. Like I can't train like I used to. My body's all fucked up. So like I can't like get max like results. So I know it's coming. Like, and then like that's the next shoe to drop is the, you know, the planks and all that other kind of stuff that goes on. And it's tough too because like you're like, it's tough with like when you're doing your thing and like you feel like hey, I still feel good. I still feel like, you know, I'm 30 or you know, even like in that range, you know, because you're on the treadmill. You like you're just going. You just got off the treadmill, but like it's like fuck, dude. Like I'm, you know, for sure getting older. Like, you know, recently single. Unfortunate business there, and
you never know. Actually, it could be a blessing in disguise, brother.
Yeah, it could be. One of those deals, though. So we can switch gears.
By the way, your therapy hour is almost over.
Is it almost over?
Yeah.
Or are we going to cut it?
Soon.
Caller?
Soon.
So, anyways, long story short, and this will be a, you know, a lesson for some of the younger dudes and listening. Not like, you know, there's that many that are worried about it right now. They're worried about more of, you know, their damn hair and thinking that's why they're not getting girls. It's not, by the way. Like, it isn't.
No, it's because they're broke. Just kidding.
Or it's because it's bothering them and women smell the weakness and then they just like...
Trust me, brother. Women smell that weakness, man.
Absolutely.
Right away.
A mile
and you
away.
have no fucking chance. You might as well just walk away and say, today's not your day. Come back when I feel a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like, because
did I go to I go to the bar around here? I just sit down and I'm flocked by women. Now it's a hooker bar, but it still makes me feel good. That
they know you have a couple bucks. You know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, exactly. I mean, shit. Anything to make you feel good.
And the bar that he goes to, that's all they really need is just a couple bucks. So, you know, it makes anyone feel good.
That's it. Yeah, Spencer eats steaks there, and
you're really hurting my feelings, Joe.
Anyhow, let me get to my fucking therapy here. God damn it. So, I'll give you this just short, all right? Because we don't have all fucking night here. And I got to get back to this bullshit. And you got to take your next caller who's going to be worried about.
No, I'm gonna go get some. I'm gonna go get some dinner and.
That is am I it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for
So,
Joe's
so
dinner. Go ahead.
We had like
we'll
3
go
others,
quick
but
here.
you kind of pushed them out.
Everyone,
Did I?
Steve, everyone hung up
I don't
after this call.
apologize.
Just busting your balls.
Anyways, I know. Anyways, so been with a woman, a little on and off, like one of those deals, right? But mostly on. Been with a woman 10 years, and I have always had a decent time with women, and it's not because of the hair. Fuck, I used to wear a hat. Remember, I was a hat slave.
Yeah.
I was a hat prisoner. Still got women. I was broke when I was younger. Borrowed like my mom's van. I still got fucking women. Why? Because I don't care. Because I don't give a shit. Because I'm like this, right? I'm all the time. Like, I just don't care. So like, that it works, and the joking and the having fun and all that kind of stuff works for a long time until it doesn't.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm with this woman for 10 years, on and off a little bit. She's a little emotional, and, I kind of would be distant. Why? I don't know, because that's what works when you're single, is you leave them wanting more always. And so you can keep them around forever that way. And anyhow, so
I'm questioning if you had actually just a couple of beers while you're doing some grout.
No, only two.
He doesn't drink much, though.
I don't drink much. It seems a lot. But no, I really don't give a shit. So anyway, so it's like I know this will always be online. I don't care. But so anyway, so things are good or whatever, and I didn't like fully commit. You know what I'm saying? Like when I should have. Like the marriage, come on, 10 years, dude. Like, all that kind of stuff. And one day, it was, fed up with me. Not that it wasn't fed up with me before, but one day it was fed up with me. And that was it. And I kind of knew it, and was a mistake. I tried to, wait a little while and go back and make my play and routine and everything. It almost worked, but it didn't. So it's one of those deals, man, where it's like, you find somebody who you really, really appreciate and like you really, really like, you gotta treat the ladies right. Like when I was young, I would never say this, but like, even you, Hellner, because you can probably make a smart ass little comment in the stupid little comment section. You got to, whenever you do get laid, you got to go ahead and do that. Okay. That's
bro, let me tell you this. As soon as you get a new chick in your life, you're not even gonna be thinking about it. I was with the same person. I had a common law wife for 18 years.
Yeah, what happened to that? Because I remember I would call in and you say common law all the time. She's not her anymore. She's gone.
Yeah. And I mean,
okay.
And it's all good.
When did that end?
It's all good.
Yeah, of course. When did that end?
7 years ago. And all I can tell you
7
is
years.
7 years.
Yep.
7 years.
7 years. So do you have another one? Because I remember when I would call in, which is only a few years ago, you were talking about that. Or were you reminiscing, like saying, referring to her?
I was probably referring to her, but do I have another one? That's an interesting question. How do I phrase this, Joe?
She's still around. That's why you've continued to use that name.
Oh, besides common law being still around, but how do I phrase another one?
Yeah.
I made certain decisions in my life. When you're with somebody for almost 20 years and you get to a certain point in life, you realize, do you really want to get really involved in somebody else's life? Because you're not just involved with the woman, you're involved with their family. All of a sudden,
Spencer
it's like...
prefers more of a transient existence. He's almost 60.
You and me, almost 60, and I'm, almost 42. What you just said with the family thing is exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Which or didn't do rather. And boy, that was a big point of contention. And I sure do have regret on that for this particular one. I mean, I've dated plenty.
Well, this person,
don't regret, just move forward.
Let me just say, this person, I actually enjoy her family. I still am friends with her family. But I'm saying in my new life, I don't want to get involved in anybody's life. That's how I feel. And, I can't explain it. I enjoy the freedom of it, but it can only last so long until they realize they can't change your mind. So, if you're with somebody, and in my case, just for whatever reason, it's usually significantly younger. It's not even a choice, just the way. I don't think old broads dig me. So say it's somebody who's like within childbearing years, and they think, well, I really like this guy, and I'm going to change his mind somehow. And then the conversation always happens. It could be after 3 months or after 4 months, and I'm just
older
that's not going to change.
Like you, older gals like you just fine. It's just that they have more of a questioning process that they have to get through because they don't understand everything that's going on about you. And so because they're older, they're more cynical and they think something is wrong. They're trying to drill down to find it. And by the time they get to their second question, you're done.
I'm trying to figure out what this means.
The package.
How are they?
The Kobren package. They're trying to figure out what's going on. Like what is this guy about? There's something.
Like
it's not this good. There has to be something wrong with it.
How have I not fallen apart at this point?
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Well, but I still have the story. You're with somebody for 18 years. That means that you are.
Okay, let's do the 18 years. You're still friends with the family.
Oh yeah.
And at some point, you said, "I don't want to take all of this on." Basically.
No. We just drifted apart as far as our ability to live under the same roof. That's it. This person is still the co-author of my life. The only woman who I will ever trust 100%. That's just the way that it is. Even at our worst time, she never attempted to destroy me or harm me as far as publicly or business-wise or financially. Yeah, I mean, we were at each other's throats about stuff, but that's a totally different situation. This is a ride or die person, and you're not going to find that. Every friend that I know got divorced or there was palimony or whatever, they were taken to the cleaners. They were destroyed by these women. This woman...
I vouch for her. She's not that kind of woman.
Yeah, this woman is a loyal, honest, salt-of-the-earth person. And just because we couldn't stand each other on the same roof anymore doesn't mean I don't appreciate that. So the women that I go out with now, they can't fully understand that. It turns them on when they ask me about my ex, and I'm very positive. They're like, everyone's always so negative about their ex. I mean, it's unbelievable how nice you are. They like that until it's like, yeah, I'm going to be hanging out with my ex next week, or I'm going to some family function with my ex. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I told you, this is a person in my life. So that's my current situation now. So, that's just the way it is. So I feel very fortunate, even though we're apart. So I'm in a very unusual situation.
Yeah. I think with me, with this one, it was like, I think it's anything in life, right? And it's no big deal. I mean, you move on and, you'll find someone else, all that kind of stuff. You never know down the road. You just never know. But even with her, right? So for me, I think, let's just say if she sat me down, which would never happen, obviously. How could you do such a thing to me? And you said, Steve, I'm just not feeling it anymore. I'm tired of this fucking shit. I'm just not into you. It's just not working that way. I would be able to accept that. Yeah. I would say, you know what? Fuck you. But I respect it that you said, you don't like me. So fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm playing around. But when I know I would have rather have it worked out and it was my fault because I didn't do things I should have done. We weren't living together. Talking about 10 years, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of people in her family, just a couple of them, a little bit. I was so, let me keep at arm's length because I wanted to, protect my own and my money and my time and all that kind of stuff. That
I'm going to say something. You could be my son. You're regretting it. You're missing her. That's very normal.
Right.
You think you're making all these mistakes. I'm telling you, man, it's very possible you dodged a bullet. You have no idea. Once that connection happens, and again, I'm speaking from a place of non-bitterness. You know, I'm not like Tom Likas or somebody. I don't know if you know who that is, but I'm speaking of a place where
of course I do.
I had a 14-year net gain of a great, like, positive, powerful, passionate relationship. The rest not so great, but we were able to figure shit out to the point where I knew this person did not betray me in any way. And the most important betrayal, I wouldn't mind as much. Like, people betray you sexually. That's one thing. Now, she never did that, but I'm talking about in the real world where I know guys, they once they leave their mansions in Calabasas, they're living in a shitty one-bedroom apartment in Hollywood. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're fucked. I never had to deal with that. So, but most people
right now.
Really.
I get where you're coming from with it and everything like that. I think I guess I was just saying as like, you know, kind of like a live and learn situation. They're younger dudes. Like, I'm not like too broken up. I was at the time, but I'm not too broken up over it anymore. It happens. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these things happen. You live and you learn, and you don't make the same mistakes twice, right? And so, I only caution that as anybody listens, like if you, I don't know. So like I'm just saying, like I've had an easy time, like with that whole dating scene. Like, we're pretty easy because I will call up on a show like this and talk about, you know, my personal life, and I just don't care. You can be critical. I just don't care. And so, but that works. But but you take advantage of that too when you're in that position a little bit, because you know, like you can schmooze and you can talk people into things. And it's like, it's just like kind of one of those things that you, like one of those younger dudes who's like, say in his 20s or something, like try not to do that. Try not to lean into that too much. And I probably would say I was guilty of doing that, like 100%.
I think Hampton Hudson is a young guy who's married. Isn't he married to like a much older woman? Joe, is that him?
I don't recall.
He's got kids. Oh, and his dad goes to strip clubs. He's my age. You know, tell your dad to give me a call, Hampton. He sounds like a fun guy. I guess it didn't rub off on his son. Go ahead.
How's the, like you have a new, like we have a woman for I don't know how long now, but how's that one going for you? Is that still a common law deal, or you guys like living together?
No. My life is very.
You can give me vague details.
I'll give you vague. My life is very not bad in that respect. It's, let's just say I'm very lucky. For whatever it is, it's still happening for me. So I feel very fortunate. And it's people who are, I mean, this person could be my kid. It's just the way that it is. Again, I tell Joe, he laughs. Old broads don't like me. All they talk about is their age. They see somebody who is their age. First of all, imagine me with a 59-year-old woman. Not saying that that's impossible, but emotionally, they're so fucked up by that point. You know, they're so insecure about their own age, and they're always talking about it. And I've tried it. They're always talking about, well, you can just get a younger woman anytime. Why do you want to be with me? You know, it's like, I mean, we're just having dinner here. Can we get past the fucking dinner?
I remember us talking about like this same exact thing. And I think even if you found a woman who was like, say, 55 or something like that, who wasn't feeling that way about herself, wasn't insecure, it's fine even that you would be fine with it, but like your inclination is go with someone young, go with someone who's like 35 or 38 or something like that.
Look,
like, there's nothing wrong with that.
You
know what I mean?
Pam Bondi, right? She's like, is that her name, Joe?
Yep.
She's like 59 years old. Total
She's
smoke.
59?
Yeah, smoke show. She's like well preserved.
You mean she's almost 60?
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I didn't realize that.
I mean, I don't know what happens when the spackle comes off, but I mean, still.
Damn. I'm surprised.
So I mean, but there's guys, you know, they want to have women.
I gotta say,
yeah, go ahead.
real quick, hold on there, just 1 second, Joe. Like, it wasn't going there, but I gotta maybe a couple months ago, it wasn't going there, but I gotta thank you, even still, that when I was getting into like the story where I said, hey, maybe your younger guys can kind of like, look at this and kind of like go, I can learn from this. Right when I was saying that, you said, I'm kind of questioning that you had a couple of beers. Like, you thought I was going to, like, I'm going to try to save this guy from embarrassing, emotional thing on the hair show. But no, it wasn't going to happen. I appreciate it, though, anyway.
Now he gets it 45 minutes later.
Yeah.
No, I
like,
knew
are
at
you
the
sure?
time,
Are you sure you want to tell the story, Steve? That's what he's trying to get to.
Sure?
Yeah.
I know. I still told. I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I don't know why. Like, I'll say that. I just don't care. Like, I guess, when I was younger, I cared a little. I really don't care. I don't know why I don't do. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you should do like start like a YouTube channel or something like that." I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I have motivation to do that. And I do like my privacy, but like I still wouldn't care. Like if I did something like that, it is going to be people who would, rip you apart for everything. Hell, there's probably people like the 10 guys who are worried about that they lost 2 follicles in the last 6 months, who are probably criticizing me for whatever the fuck reason while I'm calling.
Dude, I get
it just doesn't matter.
The
like
cruelest,
to me, I don't really bother me.
The most like really bizarre comments, and there's so many assholes out there. Like the other caller said, just unhappy people who are projecting their own bullshit, and they see people who are willing to put themselves out there, or maybe who are actually successful in life, or whatever, and they're just like, it's just the way that it is. There's always been a price to be paid to kind of be a relatively or quasi-public person, and I've definitely dealt with that for many years. It's kind of interesting to see in real time in Joe's chat room. That's always fun. But just the comments, sometimes I'm just like, Jesus, I can't even imagine what kind of lives these poor guys have.
Yeah, I think, like when my kid was young, so when she was like 16 now, when she was like 5, she wanted to do like a YouTube channel and like reviewing toys or something. And that was just starting to get big, 10, 11 years ago. We're talking about like 2014-ish, you know what I mean? Like it was starting.
She could have 20 million subs now.
Dude, you could have lived off her for the rest of your life.
I'm telling you, there are kids out there that have 50 million subscribers and they're like 7. And they do exactly that. They review toys.
Exactly. Or even like have like millions of subscribers, and like because she, was a kid, or at least was younger, and like we have like 2 like dogs. Like I have a big Siberian Husky and like a Turkish Kangol dog. And so it's like those 2 dogs are kind of like completely different. One's a big livestock guardian. And you could just do videos like that. And like you get like millions of views like all the time. Like, and if she would have done the review thing, she even took, I remember she was little, she took videos, and like she was like, lost her teeth, and she's like, Daddy, can I do this? This would be fun. And I like looked at the video, and she's like, I got a review, guys, in the video. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. But I was like, no. And I didn't say no at the time, but I said in my head, because I was like, you know what? Like, number 1, the privacy thing. Number 1, too much too soon. Number 2, and number 1 actually is fucking creeps online. And I was like, no, I'm not feeling that.
That's the number 1 reason I don't even use my own channel. It's the creeps online. And I know that you're talking about your kid. That's scary as hell. But
that was the biggest thing. I was like, no way. I remember like later on, okay, so me and her mom aren't together. This was nobody who I lamented over, by the way, but it is what it is. So, and she let her do like, back then it was called, Musical.ly, I think. She was like 8 or 9, like TikTok bought them or something like that.
Yeah.
This is that long ago. And so she let her do that against, my wishes or whatever, which mean nothing to her, by the way. So,
yeah.
Or they mean the opposite. Oh, let's do that. Your dad doesn't want. So what I did was I let it go for about 2 or 3 weeks. And I didn't like it because I knew I was going to be right about it. And they didn't think I knew, but I knew. And she was doing little dances and, she thought, oh, this is kind of like my YouTube thing. Like, mom's let me do it. Dad's kind of let me do it.
Yeah.
I took her phone. I said, let me see this phone, kid. She said, okay. She gave me the phone. I went in her followers. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some kids in there.
A whole bunch
She
of
had
old men.
30 people already. Okay. In
Yeah.
like a week or two, 2 weeks, which would have spiraled like to thousands, right? There was like 2 older dudes, and one of them has a picture on there. He was about 35 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at this right here.
Yeah.
And she was like, she kind of knew. She was like 9. And I told her mom, I said, this fucking bright idea you had. I was like, any more big ideas to improve our lives? I was like, what do you think is happening? Fucking stupid.
And it only
And she
lasted for
kinda
10
went-
years? My God.
Yeah.
No. This is my kid's mom. That only lasted like 5 years, and it only lasted that long if you had a kid.
I'm shocked.
And she was like, yeah, right. And she was like, oh, well,
You stupid
I didn't
bitch.
know. Yeah, basically what I said. Well, I didn't because I didn't want to have to go to court or anything. So I just said, I said that to her, something to that effect, and she was like, well, I didn't know that was happening. I said, you didn't think that this was possible? Like, so
Yeah, I
like,
mean, it's a really
You know?
it's a frightening world, man. And again, I've been out there as a grown person, and I've dealt with. I mean, forget about the trolls. I've dealt with, like, how do I say it as a man? Sexual, just like really bizarre stuff,
Overtures
like
type of deal?
yeah, but really scary stuff. Like someone would write. They would ask you a question. This one, I was responding to people, and then all of a sudden it became sexual. And I'm like, it's like some, like 27-year-old guy from Poland,
Jeez.
That reminds me, where's FKG? He's not in the chat room. Or FKJ. Or FK, where the hell his name is. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, there was a lot of that.
Right,
And
well,
I'm sure
Look at that,
I'm sure Joe experiences that himself. Right, Joe?
Daily.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, listen, brother, we got to go. Joe's getting hangry.
Yeah.
Listen, Steve.
Absolutely.
Always a good call. I'm glad you seem to be doing well. Sorry about your breakup.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let me tell you, man, in the end, you're going to be like, as soon as there's somebody else in your life, you're going to be like, maybe I dodged a bullet.
Absolutely. I've already kind of thought about that. I mean, I would have liked for it to work out, of course, but there's behind the thoughts, like there was probably a reason why I wasn't doing all that stuff. So I'm only so bummed about it. Like, I'm not like thrilled, it's pigs and shit over here, but like, I'm only so bummed that, you move on. Like, you find someone else, all that kind of stuff. But just the overarching theme, I was just kind of like throwing out there. But yeah, I do appreciate it. Thanks. And again, thanks, Joe, because you thought I was going to like lose it right here on the call.
Oh, look, I'm sure Hampton Hudson in the chat room has some really, insightful advice.
You guys in the chat room were going, oh, please, motherfucker, break down right now or something, because I need this right now. Like, I got nothing going on.
It's good radio. It's good radio.
All right, brother.
So Steve, tell us how much you really miss her. Dig deep, buddy.
By the way, Steve, we have a caller who wants to speak to you directly. Hold on.
Hey, go ahead.
Steve,
So you're 27-year-old from Poland. You didn't know you called the Polish, I'd be more embarrassed for that than what I said.
Oh, brother, listen.
Anyways.
Good hearing from you. Take care. We're going to call it a night. I'm going to get some dinner. Joe looks like he's about to either beat somebody up or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
All
And
right,
I
brother.
will.
This
I'll check back in a few months or so, and we'll hash it up.
Yeah, and good luck with the bobby pins. Bob pins, as Joe would say.
The Roberto pins.
Yeah.
That's what we call them.
All right,
Yep.
later.
Or
Exactly.
just the guy pins.
All right, guys.
Man pins. I like that.
Take care.
That's
All right.
it, man.
Bye-bye.
All right. You guys take care. See ya.
Man pins.
Oh, man.
America pins. That's what they are. They're America pins.
Gulf of America, baby.
They're so great. America. Anyway. Yeah. I'm still working on it.
Actually, you had it. You hit the mark on your last one.
Thank you.
It really hit.
Thank you. I had to think about it. I had to think about positioning myself just right for the launch, because once it comes out, you can't take it back. You know?
No, but you can't be self-conscious about it either, because you do it pretty well.
Thank you.
You got to get the hands down, which I don't.
I know you got to do. Shane Gillis actually explains the cadence, how it's kind of off kilter, and he's the best.
I don't know. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So.
Got to pretend they're like baby hands.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Good stuff.
Anyway.
Good stuff. Good show. Good calls.
Good calls.
Lively chat room.
Lively chat room.
Don't forget to like this broadcast, people. We are sitting here for free, rambling on with drunks from Arizona for your entertainment pleasure.
He wasn't drunk. He may have been a little loose.
He's a little relaxed. He was feeling good and open, we'll say.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Really appreciate that, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And go and look at my last short that I uploaded yesterday about my upcoming journeys. I'll be visiting a lot of clinics over the next several months and talking about doing live streams. Is that something that you want to see, where I'm sitting with the doc side by side answering your questions live in a Q&A?
Sounds so exciting, Joseph.
Joe's on the road this year a lot.
Joe's Hair Transplant Roadshow.
The Hair Transplant Roadshow.
Actually,
exactly.
That's somebody's doing. Someone tried to do that.
Oh yeah,
Haber. He's got great pipes, by the way.
He does.
He's really
he
has a great voice.
He's got the perfect pipes for broadcasting.
He really does. He has great.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely he lost his way over the years. He once told me that. I was like, "You piece of nothing."
You great guy, you.
You know. The characters, and if people really only knew it, we try to tell them, but if people really knew, first of all, they would never be able to go to a doctor again for anything, unless it was like an emergent situation.
I think if they knew the ego on some of these guys, like a doctor, that was, I can't even get into it, but just the ego, where doctors will cut off their own head because they see two other doctors or three other doctors are wearing the same hat.
Yes,
it's a very loose comparison, but it gets the point across.
I kind of think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, just making dumb decisions because they're they got a big ego and they don't think that others should be able to take part.
When this guy he's like, how come I'm not on this list? I'm like, it's not my list. He's like, well, you should make sure I'm on. I'm just like, go F yourself.
Yeah, it's a different one, but yeah.
Good luck with all your future endeavors.
All your future endeavors.
All right, guys, listen, we're going to go. Thank you so much for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram at Spencer Kobren. Follow Joe at Joe Tillman Official on Instagram. And, the Instagram thing is growing a little bit. I haven't been posting as much as I should. I do notice when I post more, obviously it grows faster, but it does seem that there is some interest, even though there's a lot of mother effers out there, but there's some interest in the truth. And I'm recognizing that just the last, 4 months, that the slightest bit of effort into putting content together doesn't take much. It really gets the word out there. So that's why I'm going to be doing my own show soon. Just kidding. Guys,
good.
Until next time, be strong. God bless. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program. and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.